84 years ago today, Woody Guthrie wrote "This Land Is Your Land" in his New York City flop house, surrounded by itinerants, prostitutes, and hustlers. These are people on the outskirts of society, and many of them were one step away from homelessness. In these humble surroundings, Woody Guthrie wrote what some people refer to as the greatest folk song of all time, and it's even become an alternative national anthem for some people. We all know there's no such thing as the greatest folk song of all time, and trying to determine such a thing would be a fool's errand. But if we were forced to come up with one, "This Land Is Your Land" would have to be on the short list. So as the story goes, Woody Guthrie was tired of hearing Kate Smith singing "God Bless America," and it was a huge hit at the time. It would be on the radio constantly. Irving Berlin wrote the songs. Everywhere he would go, he would hear it, and it just did not resonate with him at all. And you kind of have to put yourself in his shoes a little bit. There's a guy from Oklahoma. We just made it through the Great Depression, the Dust Bowl. We're in the Second World War. Times are not good for most people. And this is a guy that traveled across the country, hopping trains, just getting work wherever he could, meeting people in the South, meeting black folks in the South, and seeing just a lot of the ugliness that America had and a lot of the blight and poverty that was going on across America. You kind of have to put yourself in that time. So "God Bless America" didn't resonate with him at all. I was going to make some kind of a joke about how I wish Woody Guthrie could have heard Ray Charles's version, and that would have changed everything. If he somehow could have went into the future and heard Ray Charles do it, then he would love the song. And then I remembered Ray Charles didn't do that. It was "America the Beautiful" that he just completely crushed, and it was beautiful. But so I have no joke whatsoever. But full disclosure, and in the sake of honesty between us, I'm not in Okemah, Oklahoma right now, but I was in Okemah, Oklahoma back in October. And I was thinking I should film something while I'm here, but I don't know what it will be. I don't really know what to do. And when you're in that situation and you're thinking, should I go ahead and, write that song, just write some lyrics? Should I paint a little bit of the picture? Should I sketch it? Whatever. You should go ahead and do something. So I got the camera out and I went around and I saw some of the Woody Guthrie sites in Okemah and documented it for you, and I would like to go to that right now. There's a graveyard just outside of Okemah where Woody Guthrie has a stone. He's not actually buried here. His ashes were scattered into the sea somewhere off New York. I don't know whether it was Coney Island or Ellis Island. I've heard both. Maybe you can tell me down below. He's next to his family members, including his sister, Clara Edna Guthrie, who you might remember in Bound for Glory. Her dress caught fire and she burned to death. It's obvious this is a destination for people. Lots of people leaving tokens and mementos and pennies on the grave. I threw a penny on the headstone myself. And not related to Woody Guthrie, but interesting and entertaining, is over here there's a tombstone of a woman, and they put up a parking meter next to it. And the family said something like she never lost her sense of humor. And I think that's fun. I guess her time expired is what the message is there. And I thought it was fun, so I included it. There's a beautiful old theater in town called the Crystal Theater where Woody Guthrie used to sneak into and watch cowboy movies and silent films. I actually got to play a gig there during a Woody Guthrie festival 10 years ago. Really good time, really fun thing. Had a full house, had a great time playing the gig, and it's nice to be able to stand on the stage where maybe Woody was once sitting in the seats out in front. And right behind me is the house where Woody was born. It stood right here. Back behind these trees that are grown up through is the foundation to the house. There's still the foundation there. The first time I came here was in 1998, and these trees were thick like this all the way up to where I'm standing. I'm standing on the edge of the road. All across here, it was grown up super thick. We walked through, me and my buddy Todd, and we ended up getting ticks all over us. Like, we came out here to the car and picked 11 of us off. The next time we came, this is the fourth time I've been here. The next time I came was probably 10 years ago, and all of this had been cleared out, and you could walk right up to the foundation, and there were signs out here that someone was making an effort to try to restore the house, make some kind of museum. I don't know, but they wanted to make some effort, and I'd been here once since then, maybe 5 years ago, and then today you can tell it's grown back up, so I'm guessing the efforts haven't gone so well. But this is where Woody Guthrie, the man who wrote This Land Is Your Land and so many other greats, perhaps the greatest folk singer who ever lived, maybe next to Joe Hill, grew up right here. This is the fourth time I've been here. My buddy Todd and I are here. This is the third time he's been here. And the first time was in 1998. Todd and I drove all the way out here just to see where Woody was from. We slept in a field outside of town. This is one of those moments that we always talk about. We woke up, we had a tent in a field. We woke up real early, super uncomfortable, and got up and came into town here, into the downtown area, and we were looking for somewhere to have breakfast. And we see this really old gentleman just kind of walking into this diner-looking place. And to say it was a diner is kind of, it just didn't, he was walking into a place and it said food on the side. It was kind of like, what is this place? So we walk in and we said, excuse me, sir, are you open for business? He's like, you want breakfast? And I said, yes, sir. And we sat down and ordered the food. It was, I think we got like a couple omelets. I don't know, it's typical breakfast stuff. And had a good time. It hit the spot really well. And then I said, hey, so what do we owe you? He said, what'd you get? And I said, like, I don't know, 2 omelets, some hash browns, a couple biscuits, and 2 coffees. And he goes, I don't know, $8? And we were like, okay. And we gave him like 15 and said, keep it. And we've joked about that ever since, where the guy had no idea what his prices were. He was just making it up on the spot, and I thought it was great. I don't know, $8? And that was our first time in Okemah. It's morning in Okemah. The sun's rising just right over here. It hasn't come up over the horizon yet. And before I got going, this is the hotel I stayed at last night. It's the only hotel in town. There's during the Woody Guthrie Festival, if you ever come, get the hotel really, really early. If you want to stay here, this is right next to the interstate, and Okemah's just right there. And but like book it way early if you want to get here. And there are jam sessions that take place out here in the parking lot. All the musicians that play the festival will be out here all night. So it might keep you awake. It might not, but hello. I have people watching me. But they might keep you awake, they might not. But if you're watching this, you'd probably enjoy it. You could sit, open up your door and just watch the music. I stood out here next to Butch Hancock and listened to him play songs. Steve Poltz, Tim Easton, I love Tim. Just trying to think of all the people I've seen out here. A lot of, fellow travelers, we'll say. And we went over to a spot where Woody Guthrie, where his house was, and, the home he lived in. At that time, it was grown up really bad with, there were trees on the lot and a lot of high weeds. And we walked back through the trees. And when I say trees, I mean just like straight up grown up empty lot. And we walked back through there. We got to the foundation of the house. And we're like, wow, there's trees growing up to the foundation. There's a lot of bricks laying around. And we're just kind of like, I guess this is it. And then I looked down and I saw a tick on me. I'm like, oh God. I said, man, there's ticks in here. So we walked out to the street by the car. I pulled 11 ticks off of me right then. And then for the next week, I kept finding ticks. You know, none of them were attached to me, but I found, actually there was one when I went back to work the next week, like the next Monday, I kept feeling something right here, and I asked one of my coworkers, what is that? There's a freaking tick attached to me right here. So that was the first trip here. And there's a beautiful old theater over here called the Crystal Theater. I got to play that 10 years ago this year. And that was the only time I've ever played Woody Guthrie Festival. And, the way they do it is the performers are all volunteer, but they'll give you like a couple $100 for gas money or something like that. And they like pay for some of your travel. But everybody, it's a free festival, everybody gets in free. And I wanted to play the Woody Guthrie Festival, you know, so I could feel a connection to Woody. And that's why we came here this first time and slept in the field. On that particular festival, I remember having breakfast with Jimmy LaFave, and that was the last time I ever saw Jimmy, was right here in Okemah, having breakfast with him, and he was at the heart of making this thing happen, you know, where he lent all of his credibility, a lot of effort. He's an Oklahoma guy, even though he lived down in Austin forever. Beautiful, beautiful guy. Jimmy LaFave is a beautiful man. I have a lot of love. The first time we came here, the place was just really hurting. It was 1998, and I was like, man, this town is dying. It seemed really bad. And I kept thinking that. And then as we pulled in today, there are a lot of businesses right here on the downtown stretch. It's not as many open, empty spaces as I remember. And it looks like things are doing well. Things are improving over the 10 years ago. I can see definite improvement, which is really good, really cool. Maybe that's because we just came through some really, really rough, dying towns in Mississippi, Arkansas, and Texas. I mean, we saw some really lonesome situations. So maybe this seems like it's thriving compared to those. Maybe that colors it, I don't know. But it appears they're doing a lot better. It makes me feel good. Makes me think that the town's gonna, be around for a while, and the people here might have some opportunity. That's really all we ever hope for. There's a Woody statue right over here, and there's a whole bunch of bricks placed around it where you buy a brick to help fund something. Probably this whole park here, you buy a brick and it helped fund when they built the thing. This is just in between two. I'm right on the main street downtown, and there's two buildings. This is the side of an old building, and there's one over here. And there once was a building here. It collapsed, got cleared out, and now it's a little bitty park. It's a Woody Guthrie shrine or whatever. And people bought the bricks, and they put your name on it and put it here forever. I walked over and looked, and there's a big brick. It says Billy Bragg. Made me very, very happy. Made me very happy. It says, all you fascists are bound to lose, Billy Bragg. And I'm quoting Woody Guthrie, which I absolutely love. Man, there's just a lot of good memories of being here in Okemah, and we just figured, what the hell, let's drive by and stop, spend the night. Spend a little bit of money in downtown. We just ate Mexican food over here, and I'm experiencing that thing where you eat Mexican food, and you're like, yeah, okay, I've ate the right amount, and then you're thirsty because of the Mexican food's kind of salty or something. You start drinking a bunch of water, and then everything starts expanding. I'm kind of experiencing that right now and feeling like I wish I would have ate less Mexican food or drank less water. You know what I mean? Anyway, I figured I'd tell you guys that. One thing that's coming to my mind about being out here in this parking lot. So we stayed here 10 years ago. I did if you guys listen to my audio podcast, I interviewed Ramsey Midwood, my buddy Ramsey, who works at or He's a great musician. I think he owns Sam's Town Point in South Austin now, but one of these upstairs balconies right here is where I did that interview with Ramsey. That was cool. So if you guys have listened to that, you'll know that took place right here. And as we pulled up yesterday and started checking to the room, I was like, you remember things. It's all coming to you. And I said, Todd, do you remember those cats 10 years ago? And he's like, oh my God, I do. There was a dumpster right here where we're standing. A big dumpster that was kind of up off the ground a little bit. And there was a mama cat with a bunch of kittens living underneath it. And we were trying to get them to come out, and they were feral and wouldn't come out. And so like we were here for 4 or 5 nights. And every day there's a gas station just right over here. We'd walk over and buy cat food and put it out for them. And like trying to feed them all day long as much as they would eat. We'd come out here worried to death about it. And then the day that we left, we're just kind of like, what the hell, you know? We bought the biggest box of cat food we could find and just poured it out underneath the dumpster. And wish them good luck, and I hope they're all still alive and well right now somewhere, hopefully in somebody's house. But it's the weird things you remember. That was right here, just right here. But anyway, the sun's coming up. Let me turn this around and let you see the sun. You guys see that in the distance? Way over there? That's the sun coming up in Oklahoma there. I hope things are good with you guys. We're going to go on, continue the travels today, and I'll see you somewhere down the road. Much love to you.